Thank you. Hey, nice meeting you, everyone. So I'm from Accenture. Who knows Accenture? Good. That's actually a good one. I thought that it might be a little less than, well, but that's a good starter. So down. Okay, good. Thank you. So Antti Ropponen is the name. I'm the Nordic cyber defense domain lead. So I'm responsible for the cyber domain in the Nordics and the deliveries and business around our Nordic clients. Uh, Been with Accenture for most of the decade, doing a lot of stuff for different kind of big Nordic organizations, and also for other our clients. The cyber defense is kind of marketing term, but I'll kind of go it through. So I don't know how well do you know the security practice we have in the Nordics or within the Accenture. Probably not as well as the Accenture overall. But we do have a security practice. I don't want to go into too deep about it. The graphics are great. The highlights of the Nordics and Latvia is kind of focusing, but there should be a part of the Europe as well. But yeah, so the Nordic cybersecurity practice or security practice in general is around 140 plus people. We have folks in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and in Latvia. Latvia is a part of Finnish in some business terms. Globally, we have around 3,000 plus security experts, and around 500 of them are from our global delivery centers across the globe. We do security from kind of end-to-end focus. We do kind of strategic business focus as an architect kind of stuff, consulting mainly. We have a really strong digital identity practice. We have digital identity folks in Latvia as well, in Riga. The cyber defense, which is a marketing term, I like to highlight that. like everyone using the cyber term, managed security services, and we have a lot of focus on emerging technology security like IoT security, using GPU for threat intel, etc. So we have a lot of stuff going on. We have our own R&D in Virginia, in US. So that's about it. Where should I point this out? Nothing's happening. Did I?
No, just kidding.
Okay. So the topic of today is about transforming cybersecurity. Uh, how do you transform cybersecurity? That's probably not an easy answer, but if we focus on how to transform how an organization should work on or operate on cybersecurity, how to transform the resilience and the capabilities around cybersecurity, then we're on the track here. So I will be speaking about a few words and the approaches that we have taken when we transform the cybersecurity or cybersecurity operating model for an organization. As a background, I don't want to go that deep into the kind of background because I know probably every single presentation here has talked about the cybersecurity challenge. The keynote has been speaking about what's happening around the globe. But to highlight four kind of items and the kind of initiatives behind when an organization is trying to move the cybersecurity within the organization, and kind of motivation for the organization. First, scaling defense within an organization is usually a struggle. You're not working in an organization behind your own walls anymore. There's a lot of extended enterprise services going on. There's a lot of traffic going on, a lot of more data currently that needs to be handled, and the defenses and the resilience that has been working recently or the past years not working anymore. So we need something else. Compliance is not enough. Some organizations typically take the compliance approach, but recently the trend has been that risk is more focused, especially around financial sector, telcos, technology sector. A reactive security incident management is overwhelming, as you know, just too much event, too many incidents and offenses that are raising, and you'll be blind to it. And also the downstream or the upstream supply chain that you need to manage. You're not working anymore only within the organization. The kind of the web of your supply chain is coming pretty big. So when an organization has a situation that they have discovered that they need to do something about their resilience, they need to do something about the cybersecurity defense within the organization to meet the demand. There needs to be a certain strict approach that's taking into account when considering how to drive through the journey, how to initiate the journey, how to get the sponsorship for the journey. And I would like to break it down to kind of three areas, three pillars, if you say. First of them being focusing on what matters the most, basically about the operational capabilities and operative model of cybersecurity and cyber defense within an organization. Second, reducing the frequency and the impact of threats. This is kind of technological approach, technological way of approaching the transformation. And the second is about business value, demonstrating measurable business value. And this is as it is about business and getting a sponsorship from upwards, top down, to a cybersecurity transformation program. This is probably one of the most important ones, because usually when we talk about CIOs or CISOs, they really struggle on how to make the business value, how to show that, okay, we have these threats, we have this, our capabilities are crap, something needs to be done, new technology needs to be, how to make the business case for the leadership, because they don't really understand the threats or the risks or the technical stuff. There needs to be something that has a structure there. But let's start off with the first one, if this one works. Okay, now I got it. I'll just drop the clicker. So focusing what matters the most is about finding the right path, finding the right capabilities, the technology, processing in people and for the organization. We use this kind of approach quite often to kind of align the security capabilities, the cybersecurity capabilities of an organization to a business alignment, the business value that it provides. And it's kind of four big boxes there that separate them, and you could easily position your own way of doing into four of these. And the point here is that finding a right path, finding a right journey, and the running the journey is about constant assessment. You need to assess where you're at, and you need to assess based and towards the business alignment, combining the capabilities, business alignment together. Whether you're at unstructured stage where you lack some capabilities and you have limited sponsorship there, or you're fragmented, you have redundant processes, redundant capabilities, you have 2 log management system, 2 IPSs, 3 identity platforms, you have different teams for security incident management, threat intel, vulnerability management. They're like a big mess. It's a typical architectural problem. Or you're misaligned. You're really deep in certain areas, but the breadth of the services are not that well. The processes are too complex. It just takes too much time to discover and work through the incidents or the incident response. Heavy infrastructure, a lot of focus on the infrastructure security. And this is actually the area a lot of companies in the Nordics are at and in globally. If we take a look at for example, financial services, a typical spend for financial services company for security is around 4.5 to 5% from their IT budget, and 75% usually in the Nordics is spent for the infra security. The application data part, that's just like underspent compared to other like reference companies across the globe. So a lot of organizations are around the misaligned kind of category. There are some optimized organizations that are best of breed and are evaluating emerging technologies, are moving away from kind of standard bulk managed security services into something more innovative, something more or that has a better business case for it. So in order to kind of align this stuff and the capabilities, it needs to be that there has to be an understanding of the capabilities and how the capabilities interact. And as a part of the process or the first part, focus on what matters the most. A good thing to start off with is to structure the capabilities and the interactions into an operating model. So by operating model, you can see a kind of a sketch of operating model that an organization would take or structure their cyber defense or resilience capabilities around. They're the foundational, contextual, adaptive capabilities and how they interact together and how they make the most value. And based on the capability models, you can find a lot of these type of capability models around the internet. You could assess your own capabilities and kind of get a overall value on where you're at when it comes to security. Are you an optimized organization in total, or are you somewhere else? And you can start building the journey or enhancing or pivoting your journey based on those findings. But as I said, currently a lot of organizations should be or are approaching the contextual awareness. And within contextual awareness, I mean that the capabilities around there are fixed for vulnerability management, threat intel. The business application development is secured. There's a good alignment between DevOps and SecOps, and they work together pretty well. There's something more than a basic security operations center. This has been supplemented by threat hunters that do something else, do a more early stage attack finding. And some of the organizations are deploying a big data solution for advanced security analytics. To go to the next stage, the organizations are typically taking advantage of data science capabilities, mixing data science with basic CM, log management, etc. Optimizing the metrics, optimizing the business value metrics, automating security incident responses. For example, some organizations are piloting or are starting to pilot or using it. Some say that they are using it, a kind of a robotics type of approach for security incident management, like using, for example, IBM Watson kind of technology to automate the security incident management, so that the resources that are usually really strict, really hard to find, can focus on the really advanced, or really the stuff that's needed, really the stuff that can't be automated and that might have a real larger effect on the organization if an offense realizes. And sharing threat intel. This has been a trend for at least last year and becoming more trendier this year within a kind of industry. For example, insurance companies, they're starting to share threat intel, so that something, a DDoS attack that happens to an organization, usually happens within a day or two to another insurance company. So they're sharing the information quite well, and there has been like different kind of sharing portals that has been established during like past 18 months for various sectors. Also commercial ones that are raising their head. So the second one, reducing the frequency and impact of threats. As I mentioned before, a lot of companies are taking advance on more analytical security capabilities, and that's just because a typical security solution, security information event management system, or IPS IDS, they're not giving enough information. From a technical perspective, if you're approaching, planning, or pivoting your cybersecurity transformation, you would like to go to something else. You would like to get a maximum benefit with a good business case on the information you have. And to answer right questions, not like reactive questions on what happened or what's going on right now, what I can see from the screen. For the business case, it's more beneficial to answer the question, or the capabilities need to answer the question on how something happened, why it happened, can it happen again, for what else, or which part of the organization it might happen in the future. And to develop that kind of a technology capabilities and take the approach or the transformation towards those kind of capabilities, you would leverage big data solutions. You would formalize some sort of a security analytics capability model that would have different kind of use cases, using historical analysis, volumetric analysis, user behavioral analytics, and that would give the solution and the value to answer those type of questions, like understanding previous decisions. If something has been decided based on certain security incident, has that decision been effective for the future need? The solution, the capability is data driven. So one good thing we see is that in a security operations center, it's typically filled with security folks. But kind of leapfrog organizations that are taking this really further, they kind of enhance the security folks and within a security operations center with data scientists. So it's a mix of security guys working with data scientists and getting the kind of right answers and the right analytics for the next phase, for the upcoming threats. So mixing the scientific methods of data science, like using collections of data, doing advanced correlation, doing clustering of data, doing historiographical analysis of data, and applying it to the basic security, the operational security monitoring, meaning log, CM, whatever type of monitoring. So this is something to consider on a security transformation journey from a technology perspective. The third one, the business value part. Like I mentioned, this is probably one of the most important ones in taking the step of based on these three pillars. The business value of cybersecurity and demonstrating and getting a sponsorship for a budget for cybersecurity transformation, that's challenge. Or how do you see it? Is it challenge to get the money for new stuff, new capabilities? Is it hard to kind of make the reasoning? Is it hard to make or calculate the return of the investment to the senior stakeholders or even the board level? Is it? What? Impossible?
I would add, I would say calculating return of investment is not the hardest part. The hardest part is kind of proof that actually you need to invest in this field, not in the other fields, but actually also each team is asking to invest somewhere money.
Yeah.
So ROI, it's simple, but it's not convincing the business.
Yeah. And you could create all sorts of ROIs, like based on facts, based on like quite facts, and you can imagine what kind of a quantitative or qualitative things you could put into a ROI and make it look like really good one, but it just like won't give you any approval from the senior level. So we typically break it down to a kind of cybersecurity business value model. You really need to have this kind of a business model when you drive the security transformation journey or cyber transformation. It needs to be a framework, it needs to be structured, semantic, and you need to leverage the top-down kind of approach here. So everyone has a different kind of a business value, but as an example on how to kind of provide a two-way language between the operational cybersecurity and the strategic or business part of cybersecurity. So in this example, it leverages SAPSA, which is an security architectural framework, and by translating the business strategy, opportunities and threats, business processes, compliance drivers, and industry reference information to go down into business requirements and transforming those into business drivers for security, using the taxonomies of it, like translating requirements to taxonomy, threat and risk models. Risks are really good, compliance is not that good anymore, and providing real metrics on how to measure the security and provide and translate the information back so that it should be as transparent as possible. Some companies even have taken this further on creating sort of executive dashboards for CFOs, CEOs, COOs to translate the metrics into business language and provide a dashboard, a real live dashboard for their use so that they can see that if they're having a vacation, something happens, they can initially see that What's the situation for our cybersecurity if an press calls them that okay, you have been hacked? Tell me the inside. So it's kind of giving situational awareness on a executive level as well. Good. So there are various methods that are used here, and some of the companies are actually talking with the senior executives or board members on their view on this kind of a model, and working and sparring and iterating it with the board level to get it right. And when they get it right, and when the executives have input on this kind of a business value model, they also understand it better and probably gives the sponsorship more easily. So those were the three focus areas or points and pillars on how to approach a cybersecurity operative transformation or resilience. I don't know if I have time for the case example. Do we want to 2 minutes? Okay. Yeah. But so you could easily illustrate your own journey, own transformation for cybersecurity, and there are certain like milestones to take. This is an example of a large Nordic financial corporation that started the transformation from digital identity. Did an assessment for cybersecurity capabilities, created a business case based on Gartner research and industry. They did their own cyber industry research on what's the kind of industry standard where they should be at compared to other European companies. And based on the business case capability assessment and long discussions with senior executive, they got the sponsorship, they got to approve the budget for it, and started running the roadmap ahead of it. And there were nice results and during the transformation, especially around employee security awareness campaign, asset management, and they're really heavily pushing everything to cloud. So they kind of transformed their identity solution to be capable of extended enterprise or hybrid cloud model as well. And the results were tracked, reported on a business value model based on every half. And the journey is continuing. Next steps: understand the maturity, ensure that the leverage is full, don't go too deep there, and give some lightweight solutions in some other level. You can use international internet-wide capability models to kind of assess where you're at, what's the capability maturity level. You need to create a business case for the transformation and align that to business value, and maximize cost to serve, and then move forward. Thank you. 2 minutes.
Thank you, too. A little bit new rules. So our online streamers told us that they do not very well hear the questions, what is coming from audience. So if you want to ask questions, just raise a hand. I will give you a mic so you could kind of ask it. So questions. We have time, so we are not rushing anywhere. Okay. So I will have maybe you could briefly share I don't know, the best practice and not so best practice in terms when someone is inviting you as a consultant to start the talks about basically the security team development and cybersecurity team development. So what you see, what you are facing in the boardroom if you talk on that level.
When I talk with boardroom about cybersecurity and they're asking Well, I've been in boardroom discussions with the company CISO, and the board of director has asked that from the CISO that what's your give me one liner of what's our cybersecurity situation, where we are at, and what are you going to do about it? And that
we have the same questions lots of time actually.
Yeah, so we have prepared like three slides of PowerPoint and give you like a really structured kind of presentation, and then you're hit with like give me one liner, and then you need to figure something out in like a business language. Good. You also asked about what's kind of the good. Good is that when we talk with the board of directors of a technology company, we actually in the beginning we did a survey from the board. There were 10 directors in the board, and we asked them each individually of how do you see that should our company invest on cybersecurity? Do you see that our security is on industry best practice level, or is it on a sufficient level? 80% of the directors were answering that yes, we need to do something about it. Someone in the board or a member in the board was saying that no, it might be too costly. But then when the directors negotiated between themselves, then the initial result was that okay, 100% of the board of directors said yes to it. So,
okay. Thank you.